Hey folks, want to jump on here and shoot a quick solo episode. This one's going to be about Sequoia Capital, also known as Sequoia. Thankfully, we have passed 100 episodes. This is 102. Feel free to follow along and leave a review available on a lot of different platforms now. By the way, I also injured my shoulder last night in a bit of rugby union. I went back, so I'll be in a sling for the next few days, hopefully not weeks. That said, let's get into the show. Here's a clear, up-to-date breakdown of Sequoia Capital, how it invests, its strategy, major funds / use cases, and notable portfolio highlights. What Sequoia Capital is and how it invests. Who they are. Sequoia Capital is a highly regarded venture capital VC firm based in Menlo Park, California, founded in 1972. It specializes in backing startups and high-growth companies from early stages, pre-seed / seed, through growth and eventually IPO or acquisition. Investment approach, stage agnostic. They invest at seed, early and growth stages, partnering with founders over long journeys as companies scale. Long-term support, Sequoia doesn't just provide capital, they offer strategic advice, recruiting help, introductions to customers / partners, and follow-on funding. Global footprint, besides the US, they have regional investment teams, Europe, and until recently had independent entities in India and Southeast Asia. Let me just look this part up. One moment. Excuse me. I think it's called Peak 15 Partners, using the Roman numerals. And China, Hong San. Sector focus, while tech is core, excuse me, the firm invests in AI, fintech, enterprise software, consumer platforms, cybersecurity, marketplaces, health tech, and more. Investment strategy and philosophy, early identification. They see companies with potential to be category leaders, quote, dent makers, end quote, that can crunch big markets. Hands-on partnership, capital plus operational guidance plus network access help startups scale faster. Global playbook, a consistent strategy across regions and fund stages helps founders navigate from first customers to global expansion. Evergreen structure, select funds. Some Sequoia funds hold positions longer than typical VC funds, capturing value through growth and beyond IPO. Notable portfolio companies, Sequoia's track record includes backing some of the most transformative tech companies ever. Legendary names, early or growth stage, Apple, early investor, Google, early backing, Airbnb, Stripe, WhatsApp, Nvidia, YouTube, Klarna, Snowflake, Instacart. These companies grew from startups into giants with massive valuations or successful public market exits. Recent and emerging investments, Sequoia continues to invest actively, especially in AI and next-gen tech. Serval AI / automation led a Series B that reached a $1 billion, presuming USD, United States dollar, that is, valuation, highlighting AI platform growth. Anthropic AI reportedly planning a major investment alongside global giants in a huge funding round. Blocket AI seed round lead for productivity-focused AI startup. Fund and regional focus, Sequoia runs multiple funds, often tailored to stages and geographies. US / Europe funds cover seed to growth stage tech startups, India and Southeast Asia. Now independent brand as Peak 15 Partners focuses on regional founders and high growth markets. China, now under Hong San, focusing on Chinese tech ecosystem. They raise large pooled funds that allow capital development across dozens of companies in early funds lifecycle. Why Sequoia is influential. Long history of picking breakout winners before they're famous. Hands-on support beyond capital. Global network and expertise across regions. Active in frontier trends like AI, software, consumer tech, fintech. Let's also get into this before we move on to Gemini. That was on ChatGPT. The Sequoia National Park. Sequoia National Park is a U.S. national park in southern Sierra Nevada of California. That's where you may have heard the name before. Established in 1890 as America's second national park, it is celebrated for protecting vast groves of giant sequoia trees, rugged granite peaks, and deep canyons, including the world's largest tree, the General Sherman tree. Key facts: established September 25, 1890. Area approximately 400,000 and 4,000 acres. I think that's all good. Location: Tulare County, California. Highest point: Mount Whitney. That's 14,505 feet, 4,421 meters. One sec. I just thought it's pretty interesting. Wonder if that's where they got the name from. Let's continue. Managed with Kings Canyon National Park. Landscape and ecology. The park spans elevations from foothill woodlands to alpine tundra, creating diverse habitats that support black bears, mule deer, mountain lions, and over 200 bird species. Its defining feature, the giant sequoia, thrives only on the park's western slopes. Other ecosystems include oak forests, meadows, and glacier-carved valleys, showcasing the Sierra Nevada's ecological variety. Major attractions highlights include the giant forest, home to the General Sherman tree, which we talked about, the Morrow Rock, a granite dome offering panoramic views of the Great Western Divide. Visitors can explore Crystal Cave and Marble Carven Open Seasonally, and drive through the famed tunnel log, a fallen sequoia, and car-size passage. One sec. Yeah, I'm just looking at this, the marble carves. That's in Chile, Patagonia, in Sequoia. We'll go back to Sequoia Capital in a moment. Crystal Cave is a stunning marble cavern located in Sequoia National Park, open for guided tours from late spring through fall, typically May to November. It features 2.4 miles of mapped passageways with stunning one sec. Stalactites and stalagmites across. Access is by tour only, requiring advanced tickets online, a steep 0.5 mile hike, and a chilly 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees centigrade experience. Key information for visitors, which we won't get into, we just continue back to where we were. One moment. Open seasonally and drive through the famed tunnel log, a fallen sequoia, and car-sized passage. The scenic General Highways link Sequoia with Kings Canyon, providing access to overlooks such as Biddle Rock and 11 Range Overlook. This could go on for a while. We'll get back to Sequoia Capital. Recreation access activities range from hiking and wildlife watching to stargazing in one of California's darkest skies. Popular trails include Congress Trail, Tucufat Falls Trail, and Crescent Meadow Loop. Summer visitors can use the Sequoia Shuttle from nearby Visalia to reduce traffic. Winter brings snowshoeing opportunities through road closures, though road closures are common, excuse me. Jeez. Maybe it's the shoulder and some painkillers. Excuse me if I'm a little bit... all good. Cultural and conservation significance. Created to protect living giants from logging, Sequoia was the first national park established for biological species. It laid groundwork for modern conservation, later inspiring protection of adjacent Kings Canyon. Today, both parks are jointly managed by the National Park Service, preserving more than 800,000 acres of Sierra Nevada wilderness. Amazing. So back to Sequoia Capital, the VC giant. This is on gemini.google.com. If you're thinking about business and startups, Sequoia Capital is one of the most successful venture capital firms in history, based in Silicon Valley, which we discussed yesterday in the A16Z podcast, or Andreessen Horowitz A16Z. They are famous, for, quote, backing the winners, end quote, early on. Famous bets. They were early investors in Apple, Google, Nvidia, YouTube, Instagram, and WhatsApp. The, quote, Sequoia effect, end quote, being backed by them is often seen as a massive stamp of approval in the world of tech. Global reach. They have dedicated funds for the US, China, India, and Southeast Asia, which we discussed, though they recently rebranded their China and India branches to Hongshan and Peak 15 Partners, respectively. You mentioned the Sequoia tree. There's also a Toyota Sequoia, just in case you're car shopping. The Toyota Sequoia is a full-size SUV known for being built on truck chassis, the Tundra, making it a beast for towing and off-roading. Let's go over to Perplexity. We have just 4 minutes left. Sequoia Capital is a major American venture capital firm headquartered in Menlo Park, California, best known for backing many of the most successful technology companies of the last 5 decades. Core profile, founded in 1972 by Don Valentine, with a focus from the start on Silicon Valley technology companies, specializes in seed, early stage, and growth stage investments in private technology-driven businesses. As of early 2025, it manages on the order of tens of billions of US dollars in assets, about US 56 billion AUM reported. I believe that is assets under management. For anyone that's never heard that term before. Correct, assets under management. Investment focus and thesis focus areas include software, internet, went over this, internet/consumer platforms, fintech, crypto, enterprise infrastructure, healthcare, and related technology sectors. It's cited ethos is helping, quote, darling, end quote, or, quote, visionary, end quote, founders build legendary companies, often starting at the idea or seed stage and staying involved through IPO and beyond. Uses a high conviction, relatively low volume approach, concentrating capital and support into a curated portfolio rather than spreading thinly. Structure and global footprint. Historically run as a unified global brand, it now operates as regionally focused entities. We mentioned this as well, Sequoia for the US/Europe, Peak 15 Partners in India/Southeast Asia, and Hongshan in China. In 2021, it introduced an open-ended, quote, Sequoia Capital Fund, end quote, structure in the US/Europe, allowing capital to recycle and support companies long after IPO instead of a traditional closed 10-year fund cycle. Within each region, it runs multiple funds across stages, seed, early, growth, and sometimes adjacent vehicles, e.g. heritage or public entity style strategies. Notable portfolio companies, early or significant investor in iconic tech names such as Apple, Google, Airbnb, Stripe, Cisco, and many others that are now large public companies. Its portfolio includes both US and global leaders across consumer, internet, Airbnb, DoorDash, Instacart, fintech, Stripe, Baiju's, enterprise/infra, and healthcare. Role, hopefully this is all correct, it's Perplexity, role in the startup ecosystem, often seen as a, quote, gold standard, end quote, VC with strong brand signaling value for startups that secure its backing. Provides more than capital, help with product and go-to-market, hiring, access to customers, and a wide mentor/network layer through partners and long-running scout program, We have 1 minute left. We could go into a bit about Don Valentine and his background. Career in semiconductors, building teams at Fairchild Semiconductor, and later becoming the VP of Sales and Marketing at National Semiconductor, which honored his market insight. Valentine emphasized targeting massive markets over individual founders or tech alone, using a blunt, Socratic style to grill entrepreneurs on strategy and discipline. Role at Sequoia as a founder and driving force until the mid-1990s, he shaped the firm's high-conviction approach, backing hits like Apple 1978, Oracle, Cisco, where he chaired for decades, Atari, Electronic Arts, Nvidia, Google, and WhatsApp. He stepped back from day-to-day leadership and influenced successors like Michael Moritz, leaving a legacy as the, quote, grandfather of Silicon Valley venture capital, end quote. Valentine passed away in 2023, but his market-first philosophy endures in Sequoia's operations. One sec. Let's go to the one thing that's a shame about Don in 2023. But hopefully, his legacy lives on within Sequoia Capital and beyond. Other companies, especially within Apple, one of the largest corporations, or businesses in the world. One standout thing about Sequoia Capital and NVIDIA, which is, I think, the largest company in the world, which we already talked about in the podcast, and Google, I think that's, in the top 10 companies in the world, it must be at least 20% of them. So, very interesting. Hopefully, I think I got that correct. Anyway, one standout thing about Sequoia Capital, that's by, I don't know if that's by revenue or market capitalization. Market capitalization. A little over 15 minutes. Excuse me. Top 10 biggest or largest companies on Earth. Right now, just as the AI overview on Google, as of early 2026, the world's largest companies are dominated by US-based technology giants and major energy firms ranked by market capitalization. We won't get into that too much. I think we already have another podcast. NVIDIA leads the way. One sec. Market capitalization, or market cap, is the total dollar value of a company's outstanding shares calculated by multiplying the current share price by the total number of outstanding shares. It represents the market's valuation of the company and is used to determine the size and risk. Key aspects of market cap formula: market cap equals current share price multiplied by total shares outstanding. Company size: it categorizes companies into large cap, 10 billion plus, that's USD, stable, established, mid cap, 2 billion to 10 billion, presuming USD, small cap, 300 million to 2 billion, higher growth / risk. Uses: investors use it to gauge risk, compare company size, and diversify portfolios. Limitation: it does not reflect a company's financial health, debt levels, or true intrinsic value, focusing only on equity price. Market cap changes on daily based on fluctuations in stock price. So the 10 largest companies on Earth, as of early 2026, the world's largest companies are dominated by US-based technology giants and major energy firms ranked by market capitalization. NVIDIA leads the way, followed closely by Amazon. We'll go a little bit over 15 minutes today. This is quite interesting. By Amazon and Alphabet, driven by AI and tech dominance. The top firms consistently include Apple, Microsoft, and Saudi Aramco. Top 10 biggest companies by market capitalization, 2025 to 2026. Number 1, NVIDIA, US, leads due to AI data center chip dominance. Amazon, US. Number 2, dominates online retail and cloud services. Number 3, Alphabet, Google, US, major IT software and services firm. Number 4, Saudi Aramco, Saudi Arabia, high profit oil and gas operator. Number 5, Apple, US, technology, hardware, and innovation. Number 6, Microsoft, this has changed quite a bit, US, cloud computing and software. Number 7, Meta Platforms, Facebook, US, social media, not too much, and AI technology. Number 8, Tesla, US, electric vehicle manufacturer. Number 9, Broadcom, US, semiconductor and infrastructure software. Number 10, TSMC, Taiwan, top independent semiconductor manufacturer. Note, rankings may fluctuate slightly based on real-time market data. Top companies by revenue, alternative rank. If you rank by revenue rather than market cap, the list differs, with Walmart, Amazon, State Grid, and Saudi Aramco leading the list. Super interesting. If you look at the top 10 companies on Earth based on market capitalization or market cap, which ones are backed by Sequoia Capital? We already talked about Sequoia Capital as a widely regarded most successful venture capital firms in history, with a portfolio that has contributed to over $3.3 trillion USD, presuming in combined market capitalization. Their early investments in legendary tech companies often define the top of global market cap rankings. Based on their historical backing portfolio and current market positions as of early 2026, here are the top 10 of the largest companies on Earth backed by Sequoia Capital. Number one, we talked about this Apple AAPL, that's the ticker, I believe. In 1978, Sequoia made one of its most famous early stage investments in Apple. Alphabet, number two, which is Google. The ticker is GOOGL. Sequoia invested 25 million in Google's Series A round in 1999. Number three, Nvidia, NVDA, the ticker. Just for those who don't know, didn't listen yesterday. The ticker is, I know we're over 15 minutes, but not to worry. Public companies use unique ticker symbols 1 to 5 letters to identify their shares on stock exchanges. Major examples include AAPL, which talked about Apple, MSFT, Microsoft, AMZN, Amazon, and GOOGL, Alphabet. These symbols, such as BHP or CBA on the ASX, this is the Australian Stock Exchange, allow investors to track prices and trade shares instantly. By the way, this isn't financial advice, so please go to an advisor if you want any recommendations on anything to do with your cash, or feel free to go to them. Key public company tickers: Tech, quote, Magnificent Seven, end quote, AAPL, Apple, MSFT, Microsoft, GOOGL, Alphabet, AMZN, Amazon, META, Meta Platforms, NVIDIA, TSLA, Tesla. Financial/other US, B or K, dot or period or full stop, period in the United States, full stop. B, Berkshire Hathaway, JPM, JP Morgan Chase, LLY is Eli Lilly, and then XOM is ExxonMobil. I know this is hour 15, but I'm finding this pretty fascinating, so we haven't gone over one in a sec. One moment, excuse me. Eli Lilly, excuse me. Perfect. What are we missing? I don't think we're missing anything. Australian ASX, the CBA, Commonwealth Bank, BHP, the BHP Group, WBC, Westpac, NAB, National Australian Bank, ANZ, the ANZ Group. Understanding tickers: format 1 to 5 letters representing the company name. Exchange specific: a ticker may be unique to specific exchange, e.g. NYSE or the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, NYSD. Suffixes: sometimes extra letters indicate special situations, e.g. quote Q, end quote, for bankruptcy. Purpose: they are used for identification in trading, financial branding, and market analysis. You can find lists of tickers via stock exchange websites like the Australian Securities Exchange or the New York Stock Exchange Morningstar. By the way, for those who don't know, the NASDAQ is the National Association of Securities Dealers Automated Quotations, is the world's first electronic stock exchange, founded in 1971 and based in NYC. It is the second largest stock exchange globally by market capitalization, heavily featuring technology growth and internet-based companies. Fascinating. Let's go back to where we were about Sequoia and them having... We'll get back here one moment. Them having one of the most successful venture capital firms in history. We already talked about Apple, Alphabet, Nvidia. So Nvidia, NVDA, and a key early investor in the GPU giant. Number 4, Amazon, AMZN, the ticker. Sequoia is among the top tier venture firms that backed Amazon. Meta Platforms, Facebook, Meta invested in 2006, contributing to their social media dominance. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, listed as a key company supported by Sequoia's investments. Number 7, ByteDance, TikTok, a major investor in the parent company of TikTok. Stripe, a modern, quote, decacorn, end quote, backed by Sequoia early in its journey to modernize internet payments. Airbnb, NB invested 585,000 in Airbnb seed round in 2009. Number 10, Oracle, early stage investment that became a cornerstone of enterprise software. Notable mentions in growing giants: SpaceX, backed by Sequoia, DoorDash, invested in early funding rounds. ServiceNow, early investor. PayPal, a key early investment from the 1990s. 11 Labs recently led a 500 million USD round in this AI startup, valuing it at 11 billion USD. Been seeing 11 Labs a lot on LinkedIn lately. I know they had a video launched this week, maybe yesterday, about their AI capabilities. I believe it's a new product. Let me just see here. One moment. Passing the Turing test for voice agents, we shipped one of our biggest 11 agents update yet. For those of you who don't know, the Turing test. Turing test, meaning a Turing test, a test, this is by Alan Turing, presuming a test for intelligence in a computer requiring that a human being should be unable to distinguish the machine from another human being by using replies to questions put to both. Turing test by Alan Turing. I wondered. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the the Turing test itself is not a movie. It is a proposed test of a machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior equivalent to or indistinguishable from that of a human, developed by Alan Turing in 1950. However, a highly acclaimed 2014 movie titled The Imitation Game is based on the life of Alan Turing. That's what I was thinking about. Here are the details about the movie. Subject: it follows Alan Turing, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, a British mathematician, and computer pioneer who helped break the German Enigma code during World War II. The title refers to the, quote, imitation game, end quote, which is how Turing originally described what is known as the, quote, Turing test, end quote, in his 1950 paper, quote, Computing, Machinery and Intelligence, end quote. Release and awards: the film was released in 2014, grossed over 233 million, presuming USD, and received 8 Academy Award nominations, winning for Best Adapted Screenplay. Accuracy: while it is a popular biopic, the film takes significant dramatic liberties with the story of Alan Turing and his work at Bletchley Park. Another less known film about his life is the 2013 docudrama Codebreaker. Very good. I feel like I'm rambling a bit. Probably not, but we're nearly on 30 minutes, which is great. I feel like there's a lot in this episode. And I feel as though it can bring a tremendous amount of value to people this morning or this afternoon or this evening, depending on where you are around the world. Listeners from everywhere. Predominantly Ireland, by the way, but there's Australia is emerging, the US, UK, and Canada are the top 5 countries. Note, the list above combines legendary long-term investments, Apple, Google, with modern high-valuation firms, ByteDance, Stripe. They are consistently ranked among the world's most valuable companies. And for those of you who don't know, what is a decacorn? Not a unicorn, a decacorn. AI overview on Google. A decacorn is a privately held startup company valued at over 10 billion USD. The term combines the prefix, quote, deca, end quote, 10 with, quote, unicorn, end quote, a 1 billion plus valuation representing a rare, mature, and highly successful startup that has scaled far beyond initial unicorn milestone. Key characteristics and context: valuation must exceed 10 billion USD. Status: privately owned, meaning they are not yet traded on public stock exchange. We talked about Stripe potentially IPOing this year, but I just saw that on, I believe it's an article on the AIO review. Don't know if they will. Wait and see. I don't know if there's a timeline yet. Just look it up. Will Stripe IPO this year? Stripe is unlikely to have initial public offering or IPO in 2026. Very interesting. Despite a soaring valuation reaching $140 billion as of February 2026, the company is using tender offers to provide liquidity to employees, acting as a subsidiary for an IPO. Please double check me on all this information. Hopefully I got something correct. Not all of it. Leadership remains in no rush to go public, prioritizing long-term growth and profitability. Key details: valuation as of February 2026, tender offer valued Stripe at $140 billion USD, up from $107 billion USD in late 2025. No impending IPO. Co-founder John Collison has stated that they are, quote, not in a rush, end quote, to go public and prefer to remain private to focus on long-term strategy. Alternative liquidity, the company is managing employees' share sales directly, allowing them to remain private while providing investor and employee payouts. Profitability: Stripe achieved full-year profitability in 2024, reducing the need for capital from an IPO. While rumors persist, the current strategy focuses on using private market transactions as a, quote, IPO replacement, end quote. Super interesting. I think that's it. We'll go to the one thing about Sequoia now. Just if we're missing anything, Sequoia Capital, or simply Sequoia, is a premier American venture capital firm founded in 1972 by Don Valentine, rest in peace, specializing in early stage and growth investments. Headquartered in Menlo Park, California, it manages over 65 billion USD in assets, presuming USD, and has invested in major tech companies like Apple, Google, and ByteDance. We already got into this. Key aspects of Sequoia Capital, we already got into that. Focus areas, just to go over it again. As of 2023-2024, the firm restructured into independent entities: Sequoia US/Europe, Peak 15 Partners India/Southeast Asia, and Hongshan, China. Focus area: investment span energy, financial, enterprise, healthcare, internet, and mobile startups. Legacy: known for cultivating, quote, legendary, end quote, companies, with portfolio firms accounting for over 25% of the Nasdaq's total value. Wow. Leadership: notable partners have included Don Valentine, Michael Moritz, Doug Leon, and Rolf Botha. Sequoia operates primarily in the US, focusing on helping founders build companies from idea to IPO. Very interesting. Let's go to the one thing about Sequoia Capital. One standout thing about Sequoia Capital is that it has a legendary track record of spotting and backing companies early that later become global giants like Apple, Google, Airbnb, and YouTube. This ability to identify, quote, category-defining, end quote, startups before anyone else is what sets Sequoia apart in venture capital. I think that's it. Thanks for listening, folks, and please feel free to double check if you've got anything wrong. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so go talk to them if you need a qualified individual about your cash, and have a great rest of your day.